Good evening, everyone. This is another edition of the Walk Around Table. We took a little sabbatical, took a week off here to get some things in order, took a rest,
But we're
but we're
back.
back. We're back, Book. We're back. Bear had to straighten some business out, and you know what? I had to get a refreshing. In school, she's always refreshed. So I'm RJ. Welcome. Let's go around and start. Introduce yourselves to the people.
I'm Jeff Walker Sr., Papa J.
I'm Bobby.
And I'm Justin. And as always, their nicknames is Scoosh, Book, and Bear. Bear,
And yours? And what's yours?
Prince
Yeah.
Charming, Prince Charming, or you can call me
No, it's not.
I
Mufasa,
thought that's what it
or you can
was.
call me Mufasa. On the
Yeah.
weekends, I go by Simba. So, Bear, what do we have today for our topics?
All right, so our first topic is what are your best mental health practices as a black man, and what is some advice that you would give a black man to help calm their mentality in a hostile world?
Okay.
And our second topic would be what are some things you are worried about that could happen in the future that you are consciously preparing for today?
Yeah. Who wants to take a crack at it? Scoosh, you want to go?
Sure, why not? I'm always willing to give some advice here. Um, First off, I would say routine. Routine, I think, is something that all of us need in our lives to keep things on an even keel. So have a good routine, whatever that may be. For me, being, retired, my routine is, I get up out of bed almost the same time, exact same time every day. Um, I go through my routine of going through my house, doing what I have to do, just keeping things simple. So a routine that probably puts you in a mode where you know what's on your plate for the day, but keep things simple and don't overthink things. Um, don't worry about things you don't have control over, such as I think bills. That probably is the biggest one. You're always going to have them, no matter what. Don't worry about the things that are out of your control, other people's behaviors. We have no control over what everybody else is thinking or doing. So don't worry about those things. Money, use it only as a tool. Money is something that I think breaks up more marriages, relationships, and all that good stuff, but use it only as a tool. Manage money and don't let it manage you, so to speak. Put it in a toolbox and use it as a screwdriver every now and then. That's what I do. If I don't have it, I just don't have it. And I think all of us have made a lot of money in our lives, but make the best at what you got. So if you got a little amount of money, manage what you have to manage. But I don't think money is something that should be ruling, right? With all of your schedules, I think that you should plan your work and basically work your plan, whatever it may be. It may be simple for each of us or it may be complicated. But I think in order to keep stress levels down and to keep you focused on what you got to do, plan your work and work your plan. All right. As far as looking at things in the future, dream big. Always dream big. I'm thinking whether it's the car that you want to drive, the house that you want to be in, the woman that you want to be with, whatever it may be. Dream big and don't settle for less than what you want or less than what you're worth, because if we don't dream big, sometimes you'll fall short in life. But dream big all the time, and don't let anybody tell you you can't have something, probably because they can't have it. So that's my take on it, on the first part of it.
Mhm. That's good. Who you passing it to? Those are good points there.
You can go. I'm sure you got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I have some ways that I reset mentally. I like going to the movies, right? So I'll go to the movies even if it's by myself and I fall asleep. I used to make fun of mama because she fall asleep during the opening credits of movies and stuff, and won't last 5 minutes before she knocked out. I'm the same way now because it's
Oh,
nice, it's cool, it's quiet, it's dark. Well, it's not quiet, it's dark. And that's something that just kind of relaxes me. So I'll go to the movies or I'll watch one here. I like to listen to podcasts. I stay away. So one of the things that helps me with my mental health is I try to stay away from watching the news a lot on TV. Right. So what I do is I'll stay up to date on what's going on, but in very quick podcasts, uh, sound bites, right? In my car while I'm driving, it's a limited amount of time and exposure to that stuff. I get caught up, and I typically listen to podcasts on like 2x anyway, so it comes in real fast,
yeah.
and then that's it, right? So I don't dwell on it. I try not to anyway.
So,
Um,
so side question, Bobby, what's some of your favorite podcasts that you like to listen to?
I mean, I listen to a lot of NPR podcasts if I'm thinking about the news, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of NPR types of podcasts. Um, I can't think of any of them right now specifically, but then I throw in a bunch of uh, podcasts related to comedy too, right? So I'm not only listening to the news, I'm listening to things that make me laugh, right? Another thing that I find has helped me a lot, even since I was in school, was I used to not be able to sleep well because I had 1,000 things going on in my head all the time, right? Trying to solve this problem, go to sleep. So be studying until who knows when, then go to sleep, and all of that stuff is running through my head, trying to solve problems in my head. I was writing, I'm computer stuff, right? So I was trying to solve computer problems, trying to write programs and stuff and solve those in my head as I was going to sleep. And so what I found that helps me is that I just try to write stuff down before I go to sleep. Anything, just a big brain dump, right? And that's helpful to empty out those things onto paper so I don't have to worry about them while I'm sleeping. It's there in the morning, right? So I'll pick it up then. Um, some other things that I do, right? I go to the gym, that relaxes me. I'll get a massage. Uh, I live in California, right? So I have the fortunate privilege to live by, not that far away from the ocean. And it's calming. Water is calming, right? So if I feel like I'm stressed out, I'm gonna go to the beach and walk by the water and just, that relaxes me. Travel relaxes me. I know it's stressful for some people. I like you did, yeah, yeah. I'm the opposite, right? So travel to me is a way for me to decompress. And I don't mind being at airports and flying on flights and stuff as long as I know that I'm getting to where I need to go. And then I'm gonna relax. But all of that stuff is relaxing to me. A
Early
couple more
flights are nice.
things.
Early
Say
flights.
again.
I said the real early flights at like 5 a.m. are nice. I don't like it when it's. I'm okay. I mean, because I'm a master at traveling, because I travel for years. But the 5 a.m. flights are awesome.
So you like to be on the red eye?
No, no, not necessarily. The red eyes are like the ones that.
That's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. type flights, right? That's what red eye is called, right?
No,
Yeah,
not
that's
quite that. Not quite that early. Like the 5 a.m. and the 6 a.m. flights are good.
Hmm.
But go ahead, Bobby.
So a few more things. Ryan can relate to this one, right? So related to travel, I love a cruise, right? So I'll go on a cruise, and one of the reasons why I really like cruises, other than the fact that it feels like it's multiple vacations in one, during the stops at the ports, you barely can use your phone, right? They make the Wi-Fi so expensive that you don't even want to use your phone anymore. So you're disconnected from the rest of the world from all of the stuff that's going on, all the stress, all work, all this other stuff. And it's just a nice refresher, right? So if you have an opportunity to go on a cruise, I always recommend taking that opportunity. A few other things that I have, I've been learning how to play the piano, so that's something that is um, a stress reliever for me. Even though I just know probably a handful of songs, I just get on there and play, and it helps me.
October.
Church, prayer, all of that stuff is relaxing for me. And then being around, and this is, I should have started with this because it's the most important thing, but I really get, um, I really get a boost in my mental health when I'm around my kiddo and my puppy. All right,
Mhm.
so when I'm around Layla and Tigo, then that's when I think in my optimal state mentally, right? Because they provide a whole lot of joy, happiness, and of course, when we're there with you guys and the rest of the family, then I get an extra boost. But on a day to day, when I'm with my daughter and with my dog, that's I'm at a calm state. That's me. Those are some of the things that I do.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
Who you
What about who wants to go next? Justin, Ryan?
I can go.
Okay.
I want to go back to Davy's point of like routine because I feel like, implementing a routine for me, especially as I've, grown into adulthood, has helped me with my mental health. And like what I've discovered, well, not more recently, but like this is something that I've been more intentional about um, for the past few months, and I feel this helped my mental health. Is routine prayers like early in the morning and late at night. So the first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is I listen to a morning prayer. And I do that throughout my entire um, morning routine. So I will make sure to listen to a prayer while I first wake up, and while I'm in the shower. So like I'll have it playing on the phone while I'm taking a shower. So like I can hear some encouraging words right before I leave the house. And I'll play it on on my phone on my way to work. Just to have that extra closeness to God to where I feel like I'm mentally preparing myself for the day. Because it feels like sometimes um, I'll need to unload some of that stress that I have, and I feel like prayer is the best way to do that. And I feel like it mentally, I see the difference in kind of like my day, whether that's coincidence or not. I feel like my day um, feels better when I started off with prayer. It feels like it's just a calmer, more peaceful day when I start my day off with prayer, knowing that that was my first step. So that's something that I'm more intentional about in order to help my mental health.
Justin, what are you using a app or a particular preacher that you listen to?
No, it's not a preacher. It'll be these YouTube channels where it's basically just more um I don't know the exact names of these channels, but like some of them will be like named like Grace and Through Purpose or something like that, like the name of the channel or something like that. And
Hmm.
it'll just have like if you just search up morning prayers and it'll be like a new prayer like daily that they'll just put out. And so like it's something that I felt really just calms my spirit in the morning. If I ever feel anxious, on my way to work, I feel like it just really kind of calms me down and like makes me feel like that I'm facing a day with a better mentality.
Let me jump in on something before you keep going.
Yeah.
Uh, Denzel Washington, for those out there listening, Denzel Washington does some positive, I guess, short,
affirmations.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
are just terrific. And I've collected over 400 of them. Every time he does one that I see that's on either, yeah, it's all on YouTube. Um, I send that to my mail and I collect them. And I go back and every now and then I can just listen, to these Denzel um, affirmation videos, and they are just excellent. And they give you words of encouragement. Um, when I was going to work every day and I had a stressful job, I used to pop in some of the stinkiest rap songs that you could ever have on the planet to listen to because I was going into battle every day and it was crazy. So I had to have something just to stress it, just to get me in the door some days. But, just on a side note, go on, Justin.
Yeah. And since I've been more, intentional about like working out, that's something that I try to implement as often as I can. I try to do it at least 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So working out in the morning before I go to work is something that it feels good to have that, you know, that baseline, that foundation to start the day with. You started off on the right foot with doing something productive, and like after a while, it becomes part of the routine, and then it becomes part of your routine when you miss a day and you feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
So like when you
Push-ups and bear crawls, bear crawls.
Like that. Like that.
but
Let me show you these abs.
Right. Let me take this sweatshirt off.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Hey, look at
Go
this.
for it, man. We might get more
Come on
subscribers.
now.
But it's one of those things where, once you get into the mode of it, um, you do some push-ups in the morning, I do some jump rope in the morning. It's one of those things where it's like not only are you improving your health, but I feel like
Get you
that
better.
benefits you, physically, but also mentally, because it kind of it instills a discipline in you that you can carry, into other areas of your life, your work, your relationships, and how you deal with people. Because like you just become a more disciplined person, I feel like as a whole. Um, Also, I would say like writing, right? Writing has always been, a thing that I like to do. I mean, I'm an English teacher. Like writing has always been, um, a thing that I've always loved to do. And like I feel like I don't write as much anymore because mostly I'm teaching it instead of actually practicing it myself. But like because it's so second nature to me, I feel like it it's something that I feel like would benefit me more if I did it more like journaling and things like that. So just off the top of my head, I feel like that's something that I feel like I could implement more to help my mental health going forward. And lastly, I would say or a big thing for me, like y'all know, like video games, right? Video games relaxes me like a lot. It's one of those things that it's like the same thing I think people have when they like do a puzzle or something. Like it's one of those things where like it can keep my attention, it can unload some stress. I can get on Call of Duty and blow up some soldiers or whatever, or blow up some cars or whatever. And it's one of those things that it just releases that gives you that dopamine release to where it's like, okay, I've offloaded some of this stress or hostility in a way that benefits me and my mental health. So those are some of the things that I would say are how I improve my mental health and what I think some people could use to uh, improve their daily routines.
Looking at those workouts, because I'm in the same boat where when I got real sick, and I had to recover from all of that stuff that I went through. I was in the gym and I was benching 250 pounds, 250 pounds. And when I had to stop all of that, my mind was in a different frame. I just couldn't, had to battle the illness, and trying to get my body back to a point where I was feeling good. But those daily workouts, I finally got back into a point where, I'm in the gym, I'm doing those things, I feel good, I'm sharp in the mind, and it's a challenge, it's a challenge. And yeah, you got to get those workout routines in. I tell you, man, for all of the stuff that Black men go through with high blood pressure, diabetes, prostate cancer, things like that. You have to get into the gym so you can either maintain or fight some of this stuff that may be put on you. I always give brothers a piece of advice, brother, get that A checked, period. And if you do that, you can prevent a lot of things. And if you work out every day, you can prevent a lot of things, you know.
I guess
So
as my
Ryan, what are some of your mental health
Go to him.
practices?
yeah, so I mean, this is a good question because it's something that I reflect on often, now. Because these last 10 years, I would say, have been probably the most transformational for me. Very successful, but I've had a lot of hardships and a lot of burdens and probably um the most challenges, right? You going up in your career, you become a father for the first time. I'm becoming a father for the first time, and all the stuff that kind of the fallout with that, and then being elevated at work, and it seems like the careers that I've been in have always been managing projects, right? And then the chaos that ensues. It's a blessing that I'm in an industry that I love. But juggling all those hats of being a father and managing, perfecting your craft, making sure all the relationships and stuff like that are in sync and in your time. So I think for me, the big like it's something simple that none of y'all said. And I think for me, one thing that I do to change the energy whenever I feel myself getting stressed out is I take a shower and I pray. I take a shower and I pray, or I take a bath and I pray. It shifts the energy in my body. It gives me a quiet space to talk to God. I always say that my shower is my prayer room, right? I can talk to God about, asking him to multiply my wisdom, asking him to cover my daughter, asking him to cover my family, to order my steps, do all of these things so I can think myself clear into what I'm trying to do. Um, you
And,
know,
and to get the stink off of you.
to get the stink off of you. That's right. But I think that prayer is powerful, right? Get the stink off of you, getting fresh. But just that water, you're baptizing yourself, so to speak, right? You're changing your energy and you're spiritually cleansing yourself physically, and being in prayer is the most important thing. Um, I would also say that making sure that um you have a wise counsel, right? Um, and for me, that's really important because I think as black men, and that's a reality that I would tell other black men is that the world really, I mean, there's really no excuses for us, right? And it's a hard thing. I mean, it's a blessing, but it's a hard thing that you kind of got to come to grips with is that most of the world really doesn't care about what we deal with, right? They expect key performance measures to be met, whether it's your family, or whether it's the world, they expect you to show up and be superhuman. And the humanity is almost stripped from you, especially if you're a strong man, if you're a man of means, if you're a man of wisdom, if you're somebody that you bring impact, if you're a king, I mean, you're a king, right? You come in, but you're also stripped of that humanity. So I think, and then a lot of us, I think that the emotional aspect of a lot of men, um, it shrank culturally, and a lot of brothers don't understand how to express themselves and be able to convey what they feel, how they feel, and how to actually like offload that. So I think being able to have a wise counsel of brothers, right? And I'm truly blessed to have a good father that I can call and talk to, two brothers, one brother that I talk to, and one brother who is more on the quiet side, but is of great impact. And I love all of y'all, because Bobby, I'm able to talk to pretty much about everything. Daddy is the one who gives me the wisdom, so Bobby is my sounding board for life. Justin, I can connect with Justin, and Justin can execute things and help me with things tangibly. If I'm sick, Justin will come and do something, or if there's a project, Justin comes and physically, he's not a man of many words, but Justin is a man of action. He saved me the other day. I had some groceries, and that stuff goes unspoken, but that's a stressor. You know what I mean? Those are stressful things that like a lot of people don't think. It's like, okay, and then realizing what people's strengths are. Okay, I may not be able to talk to my youngest brother for 3 hours, but I can ask him, I can partner with him on action. I could talk to my oldest brother for hours, and I can maybe get a real nice nugget of wisdom out of my father for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, and that's key. And then realizing all of those other relationships that you need to be able to kind of have that council of people, and so that you can talk to people and knowing where, those different layers of relationships, um, to kind of offload the issues. You're not like bottling things up. I had that issue a long time ago, and it makes you anxious. So, um, that's a big thing. And I mean, and again, I always reiterate, just realizing that you have to have that maintenance with God, because the world is a hard place, and the reality of it is the world really doesn't care. So holding fast those relationships with those friends and family that can are going to be there in that wise counsel. I love movies, taking your mind off of something. If when I'm able to go to Galveston, I love going to the beach and going to the water. And then watching a movie by the beach. They have a movie theater, and I often do that by myself. I can just go and unplug there, and I'm on an island of my own mentally, and that's like some of the most stress free, especially when I do like kind of the harbor tours, like how they have in San Diego. Bobby, they have that in Galveston.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, Galveston is an hour and a half to the south. I can't just drive to it like you, but that's one of those things that really keep me. And then the big, like, I think one of the bigger things that I'm getting to the point of understanding is like the time management piece of it. Becoming a really, really good manager of time. Like that, because for me, like I say, I mean, I'm a project manager. There's a lot of different sorts of stresses that I deal with people and all these different stakeholders in different places and timelines and execution this and starting this and being here at different levels, wearing all these hats for work. And then I have to be a father. Then I have to try to maintain other relationships with the family. All of these different things. And I think it's really incumbent upon one to really have a good time management system. Um, try to improve your sleep. I don't get many hours of sleep as I want, but I'm a king of a power nap. So making sure that you're doing what you can to get the rest, work out as much as you can, and then so that's and then have a continuous strategy about life. I think for me, usually like strategy and planning. If anyone really knows me, I'm kind of a big picture visionary type of person where I'll have a big picture sort of plan, an in between plan, and a plan right here. And if it all fails, two other plans below that. So I always say to increase, to really refine your mental state is to always be planning your minutes, your seconds, your days, your weeks. And if all else fails, have a plan for that, right? And that goes hand in hand with the money aspect that you said, Daddy. I mean, like, invest your money, have a plan for your money, have a plan for your career, have a plan for your education. I read, right? So read up on things, bring your competency up, bring your skill level up, upskill yourself, learn about AI, do all of these things that can improve your life so that you're the most effective person out there, and you're using all the tools available to you, not just for social media, but for your continuous self-improvement. Um, And then I think so for me, those are the things that I try to bring in a nutshell to bring myself up is it's a constant rebalancing and making sure that I'm as centered as I possibly can. It's being very busy, and I'm a very, very busy person, right? Just very busy doing all these things. And in grad school too, that's another nugget. But one of the things for me, I deal with this now. I call Daddy about this often. I talk to you two, Bobby and Justin. But there's times when I get overloaded. So I think the kind of one of my blockers to the second question, Justin, that I'm scared of and I deal with it is when I get overloaded, right? Because like I said, I think that it's being an African American man, I think it's a truth that we are looked at as not only by our own culture, but by the world as you know, as more of a machine than a person, in that our emotions, how we feel, the stresses that we have, uh, just everything that goes into being a black man. I think it's kind of one of those things, a lack of sensitivity on that, and you get it piled on top of you, whether it's career, whether it's family, whether it's people pulling on you, friends, right? Strategy, stress, life, fatherhood. And I think a lot of the times what happens is, I know for me, I feel that. I feel that on a daily basis, right? And so a lot of the times I know that I'll have to pick up the phone and call somebody. I call daddy sometimes and I'm like, I'm feeling stressed out. This is what's going on. The landscaper messed my yard up. I was pissed at him the other day. I'm like, what are you doing? What are stuff like that. Or Bobby and Justin, I do it to y'all. I might be real stressed out and I might call you just to rib you a little bit. And then, that kind of releases that pressure, right? So with that being said, that's it. It's kind of what I do, but we'll we'll flip to the second question. So Bobby, what do you got on the second question? Or Justin, if you want to flip to the second question, we can get into that conversation. I know I went a little long.
Okay, so we're gonna do this concurrent with
Yeah,
the.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So the second question is, what are some things that you are worried could happen in the future that you are consciously preparing for today? Um, and I kind of want to go back to something Bobby said. Something that I'm worried about in the future is just the state of humanity when it comes to something like AI, right? I feel like AI is a lot deep. I mean, maybe this is me going, a little conspiracy theory with it. I think AI may be a lot deeper than some people realize, because AI is becoming more and more indistinguishable from from reality. And I feel like it's one of those things where, like my mind looks at is, now that I've been praying more and, you know, um, trying to get closer to God, I see things in a different way when it comes to the tools that humanity uses. And in a way, I feel like AI is like the perfect tool for like Satan to use if he ever wanted to deceive people on a massive scale, right? So if something incredible happened, like the second coming of Jesus, right? If Jesus came back tomorrow and everybody filmed it and put it on the internet, what's the first thing a lot of people would say? Oh, that's AI, right? So like a part of me feels like these are like certain tools that, you know, not only humanity is creating, but hey, a part of me feels like there's something a little bit more sinister behind a lot of the things that we see that we probably aren't even really thinking about. But maybe that's just me going on a tangent. Maybe that's me
Uh,
being a pessimist.
no,
But
because kids
hopefully,
never gets anything available to them.
but hopefully I'm wrong on that. But like, something that I'm worried about is, just the disconnect that people are already, engaging in when it comes to other people because of social media. And because of that, that's one thing that I try to consciously avoid. I'm not on social media a lot. I have a Facebook, and that's really about it. I'm not the type of person to juggle, five, six, seven different social media accounts. I feel like I don't know how people do it. Like I don't understand how somebody can have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, five different dating apps, and it's like you're looking at your phone. Like I have them, I have these things on my phone, but like I rarely engage with them, and I feel like my mental health is the better for it. Because like I'll if anything, I'm on YouTube for the most part, just clicking through videos that entertain me, but I'm not creating profiles and putting information on these platforms to where my life is on display 24/7. And I feel like a lot of people are unhappy, the more they engage with social media and the more they disengage from real life. And so I feel like this is something that I'm a little bit worried about that can continue to spiral out of control as we get more and more advanced with technology. So like um, as a method of caution, I consciously try to prepare for that by trying to be on social media sparingly. So that's one thing.
Justin, let
Another,
me jump in real quick because I have one that's similar.
yeah,
So it's I would say it's kind of digital overload, right? So that's another way of putting exactly what you just said. But I'm concerned about it, not necessarily for me, but for Layla. And what I try to do is whenever I can refocus her on something else, right? So protecting that focus, bothering her to the point where she gets tired of me saying, "Move your phone away from your face. It's too close. It's too close," right? So I try to say it all the time just to mess with her a little bit, but okay, it's okay to look up sometimes, right? Just because you're not at school doesn't mean you got to get right on the screen. And the other thing that I try to do is prioritize real world experiences for her. Right. So y'all know that I try every time she is with me, I'm planning something for us to do outside of this house so that we're not looking at a screen. We're at a park or we're at an amusement park or we're at the movies or a show or something. She's doing her kung fu or exercising or just getting out doing something that's not centered around video games or YouTube, right? YouTube is big for kids, right? But it's not the only thing, right? So I think that's something that I definitely try my best to make her aware that there are other things outside of the digital world, right? Because these kids, that's all they've grown up like this, right? So they know more about the computers and phones and iPads and laptops and everything else way more than even I do. And I studied this stuff in school, right?
you know,
Layla
that's
learned this
that's
stuff when she
funny.
was 2, 3 years old.
That's funny because like only a few years ago, well, I mean, a couple decades, I say a couple decades ago, like the punishment for a kid was go to your room, right? Because you can't go outside and play. And
No,
now, and now that's like, hey, I mean, I got
Give me
my
your phone.
computer, I got my phone, I got my computer, I got my video games. I'll gladly go to my room. I don't want to be outside anyway. That's
the
their
punishment is
mentality
go
now.
outside
Oh,
and
the
play.
punishment is going outside.
Go outside and play. That's
Go
the
outside.
punishment.
Give me that phone.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
You tell a kid to go outside and play, they don't know what to do.
No, I don't want to get dirty.
That's
Keep
funny.
going, Justin. I didn't mean that to. Go ahead.
Oh no. But the second thing that I feel like I'm not necessarily worried about this. I'm just conscious about it is finances. Things like becoming more financially savvy, things like investing. This is something that I'm consciously preparing for today, just as, to give myself that reassurance of, even though that, I can depend on, my job and, things like that, I'm consciously doing things to, you know, invest and to build a financial backing, as, a just in case type of situation where I feel like everybody should be learning to supplement their income. And like when I do things like um invest, I try to spread that knowledge to whoever is willing to listen to it. Um, and because I feel like this is something that a lot of kids, could benefit from, which is why I'm glad that I'm in the position that I am as a teacher to pass this knowledge to, the next generation of kids who want to learn it. Because I'll pass it on to Quentin, who had zero idea about how to invest. And now he's heavy into it now, all because of the discussions that I've had with him. And like some of my students as well. And it's like, I try to pass this knowledge on to Daddy. I try to pass this knowledge on to, any tips that I have with you and with you, Ryan and Bobby. And it's like it's one of those things where it's like I feel like the black community especially needs to hop on. Like I feel like it got really popular, especially after the pandemic when people were in the house, people were trying to supplement their income and, because people couldn't work as much, because they couldn't go outside. But I feel like it's one of those things that not enough people in the black community are aware of. And I feel like that's something that I'm preparing for um is becoming a better investor. Because I feel like this is knowledge that it's kind of been that people try to gatekeep, oh, I'm gonna make my money, but I don't want you to know how I'm doing it. So like I'm not gonna say nothing or teach you anything. And I feel like that's not the right way to go about things. Is it like that's one thing that I don't like about like extremely uber rich people is that they want you to admire that the fact that they're rich, but they won't never tell you how they got there. And that's something that I feel like needs to change where people need to share these tips. People need to share this knowledge that they have in order for the community to rise as a whole. Because I feel like if you're that type of person, like I'll give an Elon Musk example. If you're that type of person who is comfortable with hoarding money while everyone else is struggling around you, I don't understand how that can't get to you on a moral level to where it's like, wow, I would like to teach somebody how I did this so that everyone else can benefit from it too. So yeah, those are some things that, I'm worried about for the future that I'm trying to consciously prepare for today. Things like social media, um, me being staying away from it or keeping my distance from it to a certain degree and financially investing so that in the future I'm comfortable and hopefully retired early at some point.
And just you gotta be the change that you want to see, right? So
Yeah.
like you said, if you know anything about investing and it's working for you, why keep that knowledge? There's enough money out here for everybody to make some, right? So
Right.
so continue to share that. David, did you have something that you want to jump in with?
Yeah, yeah. Well, if Justin's done, I'll cover a couple points
Hmm.
and then I'll move it on to Brian. But did you had something, right, Bob?
Yeah, I do too. You got
Okay,
you got
I'll
it.
just go first. For black men, I think that especially in today's climate, civil rights, losing our civil rights in the future. I see that, more too often we're denied due process in a lot of things, and I fear that we're going to be losing more and more of our civil rights, no matter what that is, if it's in voting, if it's in, you know, going to court and defending ourselves. We don't have due process. A lot of us will just get herded up and thrown in a jail and have no due process along the way. I fear that. And I want our black men in the black community to be aware, of the things that are around you, surroundings, and the laws that, you're entitled to. You're entitled to due process. You're entitled to attorneys. You're entitled to these things. And you're innocent until proven guilty. But I fear that that's going to be turned around a lot of times if something happens. So that's a fear of mine going forward. Um, just to touch on the reading and things like that, we touched on some things about reading books, and I want us to promote our books that we have privy to read. There's a lot of knowledge in the books and things like that, but a lot of those things I fear are not being made available to us. So I think through our platform, we promoted, Bobby, your books that are on Amazon. We've promoted Cleo Franklin's books. And those things have a lot of value, and there's some lessons to be learned in those things. And I think a lot of our history is coming to pass right now. It's coming to pass right now. A lot of the things that my father went through, his father went through, we're seeing those things happen right now. And I fear that if we're not prepared, if we don't know the history lessons behind those things, we may be caught in a bad place. So those are my few things to think about and my fears in the future, so to speak. Go ahead, Bobby.
I so one thing that I guess I worry about is my own unlived potential. I feel like there's a lot of things that I want to do and I've always wanted to do. So in order to, and what makes me nervous is that I won't be able to get to do everything. I, so in order to do something about it, what I try to do is just say yes to as many things as I can, to allow myself to grow and learn and get better. Right? I mentioned the piano. Um, that's one of the things that I've wanted to do since I was little. I still want to learn how to play the guitar. Right? I'm not going to be a Jimi Hendrix. I'm not going to be a John Baptiste on these instruments, but what I can do is say that I know a couple of songs. I can sit down and play them for you. Right? And that's all I want to learn how to do. And so that's a simple example, but there are bigger ones that I just want to make sure that I take as many opportunities as possible to fulfill the potential that I feel like I have in myself. That's one thing. I think another thing that I have is I don't, at times I feel like I worry or I have in the past worried about missing key moments in my daughter's life, key moments in other family members' lives, key moments out there in the world, just things that are happening, right? I guess you can call it FOMO, but it's more of it's not necessarily. I don't look at it as FOMO because I think that it's more um not missing out on everything, but missing out on those important things. And and it's missing out on those important things because I'm busy doing something else that I don't necessarily want to be doing, right? And so what I am trying to be more conscious of doing is saying yes to the right things and no to the wrong things. And I think that's something that I'm getting better at as I get older. Another thing that I'm thinking about, not necessarily worried, but I think other parents have tried to get me to worry about this, is that I have, so I have a almost 10-year-old daughter, all right? And at some point, pretty soon in the future, she's going to be a teenager. And I've been told that I need to be concerned about that. I got a good kid, so I'm not concerned. But what I do make sure of is that she that I try to instill in her that she can come and talk to me about anything, right? Just because I'm her dad doesn't, she's a little girl, doesn't mean that we can't talk about everything, right? I want her to talk to her mother about whatever it is that she'd like to talk to her mother about. I want her to talk to me about those same types of things, right? So I want to make sure that she knows that at any point in time, if she has something that she needs to talk to a parent about, I'm one of her parents, and so she can talk to me about that. She can talk to her other parent about it. So those are things that we're doing to prepare for those teenage years, which honestly, I think that she's going to be just as sweet during those teenage years as she's been up until this point. So I'm not worried about it. It's just something I wanted to throw in there.
You
The
know
other,
that scene in Bad Boys where Martin
oh
Lawrence
yeah,
and
well, so okay. Now I am that first
and
date.
Will Smith answer
Don't
the
come to my
door.
house. Yeah, 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 exactly. Don't come to my house on that first date now.
Woo!
I'm gonna act just like that. All right,
Mm.
so a few other things that I had are not I try not to let this concern me too much. All right, Diddy, you were talking about health issues, health things that you've had to deal with. And I did find myself being concerned about future health surprises, right? Future health things potentially. And especially me being the oldest son, right? So I'm gonna have to get certain tests before you, Ryan, and you, Justin. Um, and so I started to, especially a couple of years ago when you were going through what you were going through, Daddy, right? I was thinking about that type of thing. I think now I'm not necessarily worried because what I'm doing to try to prepare for that is knowing that, yeah, I need to get, certain tests and screenings and all of that stuff as I get older. Also, try to make sure that I'm eating um, as well as what makes sense most of the time, and working out as much as possible, right? So I try to do what I'm gonna do, and what I'm doing now, what I'll continue to do is control the things that I can control, and um, everything else, leave it to God. Right? So I'm not gonna worry about that type of thing. Last couple of things that I have on my list is um, this is a practical thing, right? It seems like with climate change, there's
Mhm.
a natural disaster everywhere. We can't. I used to think that in certain we could you can move to certain places in the U.S. and for that matter in the world, and you won't have to deal with a natural disaster. Now it feels like you can't run away from those types of things. And so we know all the stuff that happens out here in California with the wildfires and the earthquakes and down where y'all are with hurricanes and so you can't run away from that stuff. But what we can do is make sure that we have a plan for it for when it does happen and we're prepared. Right. So y'all got generators. We have exit routes, right? When there are fires that happen. All right. So there has to be a plan in place. You can't have those things happen and then get caught flat-footed. So uh, that's another thing. And last thing I'll say is burnout. Right. So we work hard. All of us, we work very hard every day in a lot of different parts of our world, and um, that concerns me sometimes that we working so hard that we gonna get burnt out at some point. So one thing that I think we can do, all can do to help with that is to be intentional with scheduling some peaceful things in our life. Right. I say all the time, like and y'all joke about it when I come to town, right? Bobby will bring a schedule and a bunch of fun things. Yeah, I love to have fun. I love to have things planned out. And believe me, I'm going to when I come to visit y'all or anybody else, I got at least 10 things on a list of things that we can do to have a good time. And that's my way of trying to combat burnout and introducing some fun and some peace. So it's important, I think, to have those things and be intentional about them. Those are my things. Ryan, what about you?
It's I think some of that is in the same vein. I think the biggest thing it's you actually took what's at the top of my list, and it's being overloaded. That kind of off ramps into what I said before. It's a concern of mine because I run into it. It feels like every week I have to do a reset, right? I get so busy with life, whether it's work or fatherhood or anything, everything in between, finding enough time during the day, to rest and have those hours of peace and not having people call me every 5 minutes or just I find myself getting irritated with solicitors, because the neighborhood I'm in is just target rich for just solicitors, and it's just irritating. It's like I don't feel like being bothered. I don't feel like being bothered because I have all these things that I have to do. But I think that also goes hand in hand with feeling like, I mean, we have that same sort of, I think, idealism around ambition. Like, there's so many things I want to accomplish, right? I've been extremely successful. We all have, but I mean, I want to be as successful as I possibly can be as a human being, right? Like I'm not satisfied where I'm at by any means. I have a lot of things inside of me that I want to create that I feel like God, I want to, build buildings and skyscrapers and I want to travel the world and I want to be able to build communities, like communities. I want to do things that's on par with some of these Fortune 500 companies. And I think being so overloaded with what I'm dealing with now, the burdens of what I'm dealing with right now, I do have concern about feeling like I'm stuck because oftentimes I feel stuck getting through my day to day, um, just with stuff being thrown at me, especially when there's no empathy about the humanity side of it. Oh, well, it's just Ryan. He'll figure it out. And one issue was thrown at me, then another issue was thrown, then another burden's put on me, then another burden's put on me, then another burden's put on, and then I'm looking at life and I'm like, well, I want to get all of these things accomplished, but and I wanted to do this one thing this month, but I just hadn't had time to do this one thing this month for myself. And it holds true now. I mean, I have some stuff on my list that I've been moving over each month that I now I have to start shrinking the time down. So that can get a little bit overwhelming and that can get stressful. And that can even also sometimes bring me to frustration and anger sometimes when you have so much being put on you, you feel like you can't move your life forward the way that you want to move it in a way. But God's will is God's will, and you have to conform to what He wants. So stand in prayer. And I think the advice that I would give people, one thing that I do is I try to rebalance, and this is something that I didn't do before, but it's paid off dividends. Um, I'll take that whenever I feel like I'm reaching that point, I'll take a day or two off. Like this week I took Monday and Tuesday off, and I didn't really leave the house. You know, Didn't leave the house. I was so busy last week with work and I'm ripping and running. I'm downtown with meetings and I'm doing all I couldn't do. I mean, it's just I was just busy. So I took Monday and Tuesday off and I sat around the house. I watched some TV series. I didn't try to accomplish anything spectacular but laundry, right? Yeah, I mean, and I just sat at home. I did this. I mean, I work today, but even today, I'm like, sometimes you just need to chill and you need to get into a place of stillness so that you can reset because that burden, that spirit of heaviness can be on you. And I think a lot of that is feeling pressed down. Like you feel like, I mean, have you ever Any of y'all ever walk around the house and you have so much burden on you, it feels like you have like two big, huge weights attached to your ankles, and every time you step, it's like an elephant trunk in the dirt. And that's concerning to me. I deal with it. I mean, I have to go through these different iterations every week with life because I'm trying to accomplish so much and I'm responsible for so much, and you have to deal with the fact that the world isn't empathetic to that. So I think for me it's like, it's just gonna keep coming. Life is just gonna keep coming. No one's gonna You're a black man. You figure it out, So I think for me, like, the advice that I give people is finding your place of prayer, being still, and being a constant strategy of rebalancing, rebalance. I mean, and be true. I mean, it's okay to be human. I mean, y'all all know. I mean, every now and then I'm tired, and I'll admit it. I don't want to, like, but I don't want to keep verbalizing it and give it power. But the truth of the matter is, it's okay to sometimes just say, I'm tired. And then somebody, maybe it's a good idea for you to take a day off so you can hit the reality. Because I think a lot of the times if I don't like check myself, I might not have enough food to eat, right? Enough hydration. I'm worn out, and then I'll still press through when really I need to stop and sit still. Not just for a couple of hours, maybe for a couple of days. So, but I mean, just being in that cycle, that's something that's concerning, but that's something that I'm constantly strategizing and planning for. So every single time I hit a wall like that, I try to reset, like in my moments of stillness, I try to reflect and say, what, strategies and what sort of planning can I do to refine that, do it better next time. So when I see this coming at me, whether it's completing homework, completing work projects, planning for my, stuff out with my daughter, fatherhood stuff around the house. I'm doing it earlier. I'm planning better. I'm refining, and I'm constantly strategizing. So yeah, those are my things.
That
That's
was good. Did we have any other ones? Any last ones?
I think this was good.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you need to promote some books, though. Bobby, you need to promote your books. We got to promote some books.
Yeah, look out for the links to Layla's adventures and the books around that series. We'll have them in the description of this video and all of our other videos. You can catch them on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. And those are books in the series that I wrote about my daughter Layla and um, the fun things that we do in the family. And each of these guys are in one of the books as cartoons. So definitely check it out. Definitely would appreciate it. And it's a fun read, right? For the family, even if you don't got kids, pick it up.
Hey,
And be
on that,
on and oh, I was gonna say, and be on the lookout for Walker Roundtable merch coming soon.
excellent. On that note, I went to a book fair real quick. I went to a book fair 2 weeks ago and met a young lady. Her name is Shalandra McFarland, and her book is called The Church Investigator, and it's out on Amazon right now, and it's about a lawyer's perspective on going into a church, a Baptist church, a Black Baptist church, and finding out what goes on. It's a really fun read, I think, and it was a pleasure meeting her. Her name is Shalandra McFarland. She's out there on Amazon too. Um, Also, your Uncle Kenny's book, I told him I'd give him a plug. My Summer of Discontent is out there by Ken Walker. He's out on Amazon right now. And it's a real dramatic story about how he grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and all of the things that he went through as a growing teenager and all the adventures and things like that he went through. It was a real dramatic read. A lot of tragic in that read, but it's a real good read. Cleo Franklin, Another Cup of Coffee with Cleo. He has a series of books, Coffee with Cleo. So he's out on Amazon also, Cleo Franklin. And that's about all my book plugs. So those links will be, I forwarded those links to Ryan. Hopefully they'll be in the description. And we'll probably talk about some other books next time.
Absolutely. And if you guys have any books that you would recommend to our growing community, let us know in the comments so that we can start to share knowledge. And that's what it's all about for us, growing as a group.
All right.
Okay. Thanks everybody for joining another episode or a couple of episodes of the Walk Around Table. And make sure you follow, like, and subscribe. What was that, Ryan?
Follow, like, and subscribe.
Dustin?
Follow, like, share, and subscribe.
And
Oh, that's a good one, Bear.
Papa J, what did we say?
Do it.
Do it, yeah. Thanks. Thanks everybody.
All right.
Y'all have a
Bye.
blessed night.